Hey guys, welcome back. The title of the video is going to be, if AI takes your job when you're young, it's a blessing in disguise. If you're young. Now, before I get into why it's a blessing in disguise, let's talk about the 3 ways in which you might lose your job when it comes to working for a company or having a career. Now, the first way you can lose your job is if you're a poor performer, or, you do something that, pisses the boss off and you get fired and or you get laid off because you've got poor performance. That's on you at the end of the day. And hopefully that's not the case. If it is, you've got some soul searching to do as far as your career and as far as your success. You really do. You shouldn't be getting fired for jobs for your performance, okay? If that's happening to you, keep working on it. Keep working on yourself. Now, reason number 2 could be that the management at a company are poor performers, okay? They're poor performers in the market. They don't know how to take market share, and their companies are contracting when it comes to revenue. And they just end up laying off employees haphazardly because they're a poor company in the first place. Okay, that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is a broader economic downturn. Macroeconomics will affect every company in the market in general. And if we look back to 2008, we saw this happen when companies had to lay off employees quarter after quarter after quarter for about 3 years is what it took for that economic downturn to play out. And those happen, and that could happen at any point in time. We don't know when that'll happen. It could happen tomorrow, okay? Hopefully not, but it could. And you look around the YouTube land and you're kind of seeing it here and there. You're seeing a lot of people lose jobs, but is it due to AI? Okay, or is it due to the economy, high interest rates, high inflation that can squeeze a lot of companies out of business? So that's an economic factor. Now, when it comes to if you lose your job over AI, that's a completely different territory than we're used to. Now, why do I talk about macroeconomics? Well, let's say you're 45 years old, like I am, and you've got a specific skill set, and we have an economic downturn. Now, companies are going to lay off for the time being, okay? They're going to lay off until the economy starts to ramp up again. It's that boom and bust cycle that I've talked about. The economy goes bust, companies lay off, interest rates fall, and then the economy starts to grow again and companies start to rehire. And so if you have a specific skill set, typically you'll get rehired within maybe 18 months to a year or 2 years, however long it takes the economy to get back on its feet. Well, the problem with AI, the problem with getting laid off due to AI is that the jobs aren't coming back. You have less opportunity to get your job back as a skilled employee. And it's much harder if you're older in life, okay? If you're 40 years or older, you've got less time to pivot. You've got less ability to pivot. One, you've probably got way more liabilities. Okay, you've already went to college, you're stuck in your ways, you're maybe married, you've got kids, you got a house, a car payment, all that stuff. How are you going to go back to college? Or how are you going to build a new skill when you're busy in your life? Okay, and that's why I say when you're young and you get laid off due to AI, you now have the opportunity to pivot early. To pivot early in your life because that market is done. Okay, if AI takes your job, you need to pivot, period. There is no reason for you to stick with that market or stick with that skill set if AI has taken your job, because your job is very similar to the other jobs you would apply to in that market or in that skill set, that type of job. So it's a blessing in disguise that you can get laid off early in your life due to AI, okay? I'd rather it be when you're under 25. If you could, if you get laid off due to AI, it is a blessing because you've realized, hey, I got to pivot now. I have time. I'm motivated. I still have energy. I may not have liabilities. Hopefully you don't. If you do, you can still get by because you've got that energy, all right? And you've got that time to make that pivot happen. So that's why it's a blessing. I don't want it to happen to anyone, no doubt, but the reality is it's going to happen in many different markets. And I'd rather it happen when you're young, okay? When you're young, you can make a change in your life. You still have that gumption that got you that job in the first place, probably. Maybe you can still hang around that market and that job sector if other companies haven't done the same thing when it comes to efficiencies with using AI. You can still probably find a job here or there, but be prepared for the same situation. Be prepared that 9 months, 12 months down the road, the company that you go to is going to do the exact same thing. They're going to learn from other companies doing what they just did to you. That's how it's going to work. Companies are always looking for efficiencies. And if they can use any sort of technology, whether it's robotics or whether it's artificial intelligence using text, LLMs, they're going to use it, okay? And we don't even know what is going to happen as far as different technologies. We've got these AI systems that NVIDIA is building that are just, they're kind of unexplainable, even from a tech guy like myself who's in software. When I listen to what these guys are saying, it's over my head, to be honest. Now, that might be because I'm old, I'm 45, I'm not in the AI space on a day-to-day basis. Oh yeah, that's what they're called. They're called AI agents. What the hell are those things even doing? Are they going to start reasoning? I don't know what kind of jobs those are going to take, but I'm anticipating that it's going to take a lot of them. And again, this is not a doom and gloom. I want you to realize that if you're young, you still have time to pivot. Because I recently saw 2 videos, both men who were between 20 and 25. They had lost their jobs to AI like once or twice. And I think both of them were screenwriters, which I mentioned in a previous video. The Screenwriters Guild, they went on strike in Hollywood, okay? And there's a reason why. They understood what I'm talking about, okay? And it's going to happen in more markets. And hopefully, if it does happen to you, I hope that you're young. I hope that you're young enough to pivot. Now, for people in their 40s like myself, you still got 20 years, 25 years left. You can pivot. You can go back, but it's just going to take a lot more energy. You know what I'm talking about. It's going to take a lot more energy, a lot more planning and strategy because maybe you've got a house, maybe you've got kids, maybe you're divorced, child support, whatever it may be. You're just going to have to be very strategic and plan accordingly. And look for markets where this AI revolution can't step foot in, okay? And even if you're starting to hear things, maybe around your inner circle at the water cooler that, oh man, AI took this job that it's kind of like doing what we're doing. Start pivoting early, okay? The earlier you start to strategize and understand where these AI bots are taking over jobs, go the opposite direction, okay? Start to pivot and make plans. You can do it, even at 45, even at 50, you could do it. I mean, you got 15 years left before official quote unquote retirement. So, that's not a blessing in disguise. Let me tell you, I mean, to lose your job at 45 or 50 because of AI, now you can't even go into the same market. That is not a blessing because you don't have time to pivot. You don't have the energy, and it is what it is. So if you guys are young and, hey, You take advantage of getting laid off due to AI. You do that video I talked about in my previous video. You make the video where AI took your job. Do that. That could help you get some traction in the YouTube space, right? And start building a personal brand. I'm going to say that again on this video, like I did in the previous video. I think that, you know, if you're young, you've got time to do it. You've got all the time in the world to build a brand, build an audience, and build yourself a nice little side income or full-time income if you're good enough. Who knows? So hopefully that, you know, AI doesn't take our jobs. I really hope that doesn't happen, but I'm anticipating. You got to prepare for things up here. That's what this game is all about when it comes to building wealth. Prepare for the inevitable and always assume your job's at risk. Even without AI, to be honest, you should really be thinking about pivoting if you see some stagnation in your market or, you know, water cooler talk where things aren't going as good as you thought. So whether it's AI or not, you know, that's my advice to you. Start thinking about it. So anyways, it was just a gorgeous night and I figured I'd come out, do another video for you guys and, you know, stay positive. You know, I know there's going to be a lot of doom and gloom and fear about AI, no doubt. But I'm just going to say this. Stay positive. You guys can do it. And yeah, everyone, thanks for coming. And let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Am I on the right track when it comes to if you're young? It's probably a blessing that you find out about it early and you switch your careers. So let me know in the comments below. And you guys have a wonderful day. Take a look at my previous video if you could. Hey, and like and subscribe. That would help the channel too a lot. So thanks guys. You guys have a great night. Thanks.